Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today, we're going to be reacting to this little clip that was on Reddit a couple days ago. I just haven't been able to get around to making this video yet, but it was something I knew I wanted to talk about. This Reddit post titled CoreJJ and Doublelift talking about SwordArt. And the quote is, in the beginning, I thought SwordArt was going to be really insane, but since he came here, I thought he's been playing really bad. And this is a clip, I believe it's from, I'm not sure if this is from Doublelift's live stream, or I know Doublelift posted a YouTube video about it also, where he's kind of interviewing CoreJJ, just kind of after the LCS lock-in and everything that went down. Obviously, Team Liquid was able to pull off the championship, and now all their players are giving interviews on all these different sources, and it's a bunch of really, really good content, and it's awesome to hear from all the Team Liquid players, their perspectives on how lock-in was, how LCS is going, what they think it's gonna go like now that the official stuff is starting, and Doublelift's been putting out a ton of awesome content recently, so I just wanted to react to some of the things in this clip, because there is some pretty spicy stuff. They talk about TSM's bot lane, TL's bot lane, Cloud9's bot lane going forward, and obviously getting to hear from Doublelift and CoreJJ, two of the most kind of best respected guys in the professional League of Legends scene, is great. But before we get into that, make sure you are subscribed if you're not already. That would be awesome. It helps me out a ton, helps you guys stay up to date on all my videos and everything. Also, dropping a like if you do want to help support the channel, if you want to help support my content, if you enjoy this video, any of that, because that's very, very awesome as well. Obviously helps get my videos higher up in the YouTube algorithm, helps us continue to grow and get out to more and more people. That's the goal around here. That'd be great. We have tons of awesome content coming out in the future, obviously with the LCS start right around the corner, LEC, LCK, LPL, everything's in full swing. With that being said, let's get right into this. Let's see what Doublelift and Core have
You played against SwordArt,
say.
right?
Okay, hold on. I did not mean to click off that. Rip headphone users. Hopefully this isn't too loud. I know every once in a while stuff's too loud, too quiet. Right? We'll see.
After he came here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and in the beginning, I thought that SwordArt was going to be, like, really insane, because he went, like, finals at Worlds. The bot lane of Suning was, like, fucking good, but, like, since he came here, I thought he's been playing, like, really bad. But I wanted to know, like, how do you feel playing against him? Do you feel like he's, like, really strong, or, like, not?
So before we hear CoreJJ's answer, I want to talk about what Doublelift's saying a little bit. He's saying kind of what a lot of other people have been saying, that so far he thinks SwordArt has not been that good for TSM. Like people said, they saw him playing over in the LPL, and some people honestly were already saying they didn't think he was doing very good in the LPL. We saw the Worlds run, obviously, where Suning makes it all the way to the finals, and again, some people were obviously super hyped up for SwordArt, saying he's pretty great and awesome, and especially if he's able to succeed in the LPL and at Worlds, he should be just fine coming over to the LCS. The LCS doesn't really have that strong supports already. It's honestly one of the weaker positions. In my opinion, it's the second weakest position in the LCS behind mid lane. So he should have been able to come in and, kind of start dominating right away. Again, we haven't even got to the regular season yet, so I think it's a little too early to be making, too crazy of judgments or anything like that. But obviously, that's what we do around here. We're always talking about, what we see on the Rift and everything. But obviously, Doublelift is talking about how so far he hasn't really been that impressed with SwordArt. He thinks he's been playing really, really bad. Now, some of this, Doublelift could be a little bit salty, obviously, with how things went down with TSM. Also could be a little bit salty that, he was trying to play with SwordArt, and then things didn't really work out, where Doublelift kind of got forced into retiring, and then SwordArt still ended up coming over. Another big part of it is, yes, I have not been super impressed with SwordArt. It's not like he's been absolutely smurfing. It's not like he's been playing better than CoreJJ or better than Vulcan or anything like that to start the season. But a big asterisk there for me is the fact that CoreJJ is not playing with Lost. And Vulcan is also not playing with Lost. Vulcan and CoreJJ have been playing with two of probably the best performing AD carries in the league so far. And then Doublelift goes on to talk about also how Huhi's looking pretty good to start the season. Well, coincidentally, he has bot lane with FBI. So, what Doublelift is saying are the three best supports. Is it just a coincidence that they're also laning with the three best AD carries in the league? Like, I don't know. It is obviously easier to look good when your bot lane partner is up to standard. And I think Doublelift would understand some of that as well, because last year when he subbed in Treats and Doublelift was maybe not looking so good, he was calling for Biofrost to come back in because he was saying that it was affecting their laning, it was affecting their play. So for someone who plays as much bot lane as him and has been with so many different bot lane duos and knows how much of an effect those two can have on each other, I think he would cut him a little bit of leeway, because yes, SwordArt hasn't been amazing, but he's honestly been pretty good for TSM. He's been one of the few bright spots for TSM so far. And man, Lost has really looked like maybe the worst AD carry in the league to start the season. I don't know if I would have him dead last, but he's towards the bottom 3 or 4 for sure. And I think that really is, limiting what SwordArt can potentially do. Not only do they hardly ever have push in lane, they're hardly ever getting ahead in lane. That's kind of delaying SwordArt being able to get out on the map and affect things. And the rest of the map hasn't been going that well either. So SwordArt, while he hasn't been insane, he hasn't been as to the eye test, he hasn't been as good as CoreJJ or Vulcan or whoever to start the season. It's also it's different circumstances a little bit. So I don't know. I get what Doublelift's saying, and I get what some other people are saying. I definitely get the criticism for SwordArt, especially with the amount of money that TSM's paying him. But there's a lot going on here, and I think Doublelift kind of understands that a little bit if he's kind of being realistic and being honest.
Not yet.
It is pretty strong, but it is so cringe if he lose after me and Tactical played for one season, and then they just start played, and then I don't think I'm like way worse than him.
So, CoreJJ actually said, he is pretty strong. He actually does respect SwordArt. Obviously, he knows that he is, a top-tier support player. Just like I said, a guy who's been able to find success in the LPL, even if he wasn't the main reason for Suning's success. A guy who was able to find success at Worlds, even if he wasn't the main reason for Suning's success, is definitely LCS caliber, is definitely going to be one of the best supports and really one of the best players in the LCS. But again, like he says, it would be cringe if him and Tactical have been playing for a year. They got to go to Worlds together. They got to play at all these different events together. They played so many games, scrims, time, hours, whatever. If SwordArt was able to come in with loss right away and beat Team Liquid's bot lane, beat Cloud9's bot lane, that would be more of an indictment on the bot lanes of Team Liquid and Cloud9, who already have this existing synergy with more parts of their team and with their bot lane partner than Lost and SwordArt have together. So again, this is something where this is going to take time. Any bot lane duo does take time to mesh and come together. And also, I think it could just be the fact that, potentially in the end, we might just find out that Lost maybe isn't cut out. Maybe Lost isn't LCS caliber just because he was good in Academy with Treats. Treats has made a lot of AD carries look better than they are. He is a very, very good support, and especially in Academy was a very, very good support. We might just find out that Lost maybe isn't cut it, and if SwordArt is able to get a Tactical or get a Sven who's playing out of his mind right now, you might be surprised. He might end up looking a little bit better. But, Doublelift is really, really harsh. CoreJJ is not going that far. He's just saying, yeah, it makes sense that, they're not looking great because they haven't had a ton of time together. And I think that's a much more realistic take here.
So if he lose right now, we have some problem.
I see, yeah. No, that makes sense. If he comes in and he instantly is better than everyone else, then that's not good. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I was just surprised when I watched him play that I thought he would be more aggressive or just be doing more, but
Just good support so far.
yeah, I don't know. I think from the game.
So, Doublelift's point there, I do kind of agree with, because that was something I was saying. I was expecting him, and he did say he wanted TSM to play this LPL style, which honestly, if you watch the TL Cloud9 finals, that was one of the most exciting in terms of aggressiveness and playmaking and just kind of going right at each other LPL style. I hate that, it's so cliche, but people say it, and you know what I mean when I say that. We really did have a great finals in terms of both teams playing really aggressive, crazy, and kind of going at each other. But yeah, TSM has not had that. SwordArt has not been able to do that. But I think it goes back to the thing where it is difficult to find openings to go aggressive, to go crazy, to make big plays when your lane is usually behind, when your team has usually been behind and stuff. So yeah, I don't think SwordArt has been necessarily overly aggressive or overly crazy. He's obviously a calculated player. He still wants to try and make good plays, not just random crazy plays. But TSM as a whole has been disappointing to start the season. And I still believe that good teams make all their players look better. Bad teams make all their players look worse. If you're it's much harder to be a shining star on a bad team than it is to kind of cover up a bad player on a good team. So again, I don't think SwordArt has been playing better than CoreJJ or better than Vulcan. I would definitely rate them both higher than him right now. Huhi maybe even in that conversation, but I would say SwordArt's kind of closer to Huhi right now. But it is different situation. It is different teams. But yes, I agree with Doublelift. Yes, SwordArt has not been overly impactful or overly aggressive or overly playmaking. TSM has not looked like an LPL team, and TSM's bot lane has not looked like an LPL bot lane to start the season. And that is a fair point.
Games I'm seeing, you, Vulcan, and Huhi are so much better than everyone else.
Yeah, actually, even
God.
last Worlds, I thought there is really few support is better than Vulcan even.
Yeah, I agree. Vulcan's
in Worlds.
solid. Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited.
So, and there they end up that clip with another really, really big, interesting point, a banger from CoreJJ saying that he agrees that Vulcan, Huhi, CoreJJ are all pretty insane in terms of support play in the LCS right now, but also the fact that he comes out and says on his own that he thinks Vulcan is one of the best supports in the world. He says at the Worlds competition, obviously Cloud9 didn't make it to Worlds, but CoreJJ played a ton against Vulcan. CoreJJ went and played against some of the best teams that supports bot lanes in the world, not only on stage, but also in scrims and stuff. You know, they're practicing against everybody. Said that he really thinks Vulcan can stack up with any support in the world. And I think that is awesome for CoreJJ to come out and say. I mean, yes, there is obviously a TL Cloud9 rivalry where those players are going to go back and forth. But at the end of the day, I think most people, most North American League of Legends players, fans, LCS fans, Team Liquid and Cloud9 fans, both want our teams to go to MSI, go to Worlds, be successful, to kind of, you know, earn some respect for our region, for our league, for all that stuff. And to hear that CoreJJ thinks, you know, that some of our players are truly world class, it is awesome to hear. And I've been a little bit critical of Vulcan sometimes. I don't mean that he's bad or anything, but I think sometimes he's maybe been a little bit overrated. But obviously, if CoreJJ thinks he's great, thinks he's, you know, absolutely world class, then that's great to hear, and I would love to see it. Again, it sucks that Cloud9 didn't get to make it to Worlds last year, but obviously they were not playing that great at the end of the year anyway. It probably wouldn't have gone very well because even the teams that were playing better than them, none of them were able to make it out of groups. TSM goes 0-6. It's a whole mess. But yes, it is awesome to hear that CoreJJ obviously believes himself to be a world-class support. He believes Vulcan is right there with him, and he also thinks SwordArt is really, really strong. So he thinks over time, you know, if SwordArt can kind of put in the time, hours, whatever, games, whatever they need to do with TSM, that he can get there as well. And then he said he thinks Huhi's really good too. So potentially we could have 4 very, very strong supports, and hopefully that turns into 4, you know, world-class bot lanes. And then we start turning into maybe some world-class teams. It seems like North America does actually have some talent, some promise, some players that are really starting to believe in each other, gain confidence, and hopefully, I know we say every year is this year, but hopefully we will be able to start showing it at these international events and really proving how talented our teams and players are. And Team Liquid and Cloud9 are both looking like really, really exciting, interesting teams to start the season. But I just thought this was all really interesting, getting some takes about SwordArt, getting some takes about Vulcan, about some the support play in the League of Legends world right now. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. It helps me out so much with the YouTube algorithm, and I would really appreciate it. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about everything we talked about in this video? Do you think Vulcan is world class? Do you think SwordArt's been looking bad or good or whatever to start the season? Where do you rate him? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions about anything we talked about in today's video. Subscribe, stay up to date on my latest content. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!